So in this week's Torah portion, we find something quite interesting. Even though the whole Torah is one, and every Torah portion is its own, it's part of the one Torah, but it's also its own individual Torah portion. We find the idea of oneness really expressed more in this Torah portion. And how do we see that? So the majority of the Torah portion is actually all one story, which is not always the case. You have the story of the spies, the 12 spies that Moses sent into the land of Israel to spy out the land, which is all one story, from first Aliyah, second Aliyah, all coming together to be one story. And then the Torah portion finishes with the mitzvah of tzitzis. Now, tzitzis, of course, is one mitzvah. But as one mitzvah, you have expressed all 613 mitzvahs. Why? Because the numerical value of the word, the Hebrew word tzitzis, is 600. You have the 5 knots, the 8 strings, adds up to 613. Now, besides this concept's already in the Torah portion of this kind of juxtaposition of oneness, but also this differentiation, the different parts, the particulars, you have in the Haftorah the story of going into of Joshua sending the 2 spies into the land of Israel 40 years later. Now, if you look at the 2 stories of the spies, the Rebbe explains how really they're very different concepts, but they complement each other. Meaning what? The spies of Moses were 12 spies that went to 12 parts of the land. They represent division, differentiation, as opposed to the spies of Joshua sent represent unity, oneness. So how do they complement each other? How do they, even though they're very different? So really, in the Torah itself, we have the concept of the oneness of the Torah, and we also have the particulars. We have differentiation. And then within each one of us, we also have the idea of oneness, and we also have the idea of differentiation. How is that? The idea of oneness, of course, within us, within each one of us, is our core, is our essence, is our self, is our godly core. And then we have the other parts of us. What's the differentiation? We have, again, the different parts of our intellect, different parts of our emotional attributes, our thought, our speech, our action. That's all this differentiation. And since we are in a world of differentiation, how do we interact with this world of differentiation? With the part of us, it's differentiation. The part of it, it's division. We have to, use these different parts of us, different parts of, our intellect, our emotions, speech, whatever. This is how we're working with the world. This is how we're interacting with the world. But the trick is to bring the oneness into that. To not only allow which is, it's natural to work with the world of the different parts of differentiation, but we have to, if we're able to, the trick is to bring our oneness, our core, our self, into the differentiation, into these different parts. So all these different parts of us will be permeated and will completely absorb this oneness. Then, once we become whole and we become one, we can spread that oneness to the rest of the world, to outside of us. And then we will merit the ultimate revelation of the ultimate oneness. Shabbos.